backup quarterback to make sure they don't throw over the middle, risk adverse, keep it
Yeah.
safe, don't make any mistakes. And it's been frustrating to watch because it's always come down to, a last minute drive, one way or another, and very close games. And it also usually equaled out a bunch of exhausted defensive players who got hurt. I didn't see that this weekend. For the first time in like maybe 2018, it felt like the offense opened up. It felt like the quarterback had command of the offense. You know, there was one play in particular that won me over. And it was actually the pass to Pat Fryermuth. There's a play action pass, rolls out over to the right or the left. And as soon as he turns around, there's a defender in his face. He pauses, it shifts to the right, sidearm throws a dart right on the money to Pat Fryermuth.
Yeah. I
And
know exactly which one you're talking about. That was the best throw of the night.
yes, I agree. And I was just like, that kind of throw in that moment with
Yeah.
that much pressure, and you had the boo birds out earlier. You're starting to heat up. You're starting to show off, and you hit something like that. I hadn't seen something like that since Ben, and it'd been a while. So
Yeah.
exciting to watch. Russ can cook. Now, we got to temper down the everything. It's just one game, and there was some sloppiness early in the first quarter. How close were you to saying let's just put Justin Fields in?
I'll get into that in a second. Jared Devil, what's up, man? Sorry, guys. I apologize if you hear me cough at all. I'm still kind of getting through this sickness I've had. Um, so how close was I? Well, Daniel, I'll be honest. If you follow my Twitter, I was not a fan of this quarterback change. I was not a fan of it, and I'll tell you that right now. I was not a fan of it. Reason why, it's not because I was doubting Russell Wilson. You can go back and look at our videos when the signing happened. I was all for it. I was very happy. I still think the guy can play. I still think he has some juice left in the tank. I think that Denver was a really bad situation for him. The coach didn't want him. They were rebuilding as well, his second year there. But I didn't want it to happen because they were 4-2. I thought Fields was doing good enough. I wanted to see. I felt like that they were constraining him a little bit, and I wanted them to go get another wide receiver and try to maybe invest more into him, um, developing him as more of a passer a little bit. Like, that wasn't going to fully come about this year, but just more of a focus in on that. And if things started to kind of crap the fan a little bit, then you can make that switch. I just didn't think it was the right time. And especially one of the reasons why I stated was, and you guys can even go and look back on my recent video I did with Z. Him and I actually both talked about this. And it's on my channel. It's like a 30-minute video. If you're interested, it's there. But the Steelers' entire right side of the line has been injured. They're out all year. The center's out, and you're putting in Wilson with that, and you're putting Wilson in with honestly a pretty bad receiving core. Let's be honest right now. So I wasn't quite confident that he was going to be able to make it work with
Mhm.
that. Not because he couldn't play. I still believe in his ability. I still believe in his arm. Um, I just thought that taking out Fields and what he was able to do with bailing out the offensive line and being able to run the football the way they were, um, was just, you shouldn't took it out. It was your most effective thing going, right? So that was my mindset. I think that's a completely fair mindset to have. I think a lot of people were kind of in that same train as I was. I know that there was a handful of people that were open to that and okay with that move. Daniel as well. I watched your video. I gave you a shout out in my video. So I know Daniel was in favor of the move. And I understood why, just to open up the field, open up the offense, try to spread the ball a little bit. And I think we saw even more than what we expected to Sunday. Um, but I was just really keen on those particular aspects, and I thought it was going to hinder the offense as it's currently constructed. Now, as we get into Sunday, and we'll talk more about it, Russ obviously made it work. And the only question is being able to kind of see as these next few weeks line up, of when we see some bad offensive line play, when we see really those lines break down. I think that's really the key thing, has been Russ being able to, he can move, like he's not a statue, But obviously he doesn't have that speed. He doesn't have that quickness. He doesn't have that burst Justin Fields has. So with the way the line is, the pass protection's been bad all year. It's injured. So it's going to come to a point where we're going to see that collapse a lot. And that's something that is going to be something they're really going to have to adjust to. But with that being said, that was really my reasoning why during the time I wasn't in favor. But I knew that if certain things were lined up right, that Wilson would work. I just didn't think that as the Steelers currently are right now with a poor receiving group and a bad line, it made me scared and that it just wasn't going to move the needle. So I wasn't jumping the gun, Daniel, the first quarter, but I was starting to scratch my head a little bit, like, okay, Michael, like, did you make the right move? So
So
that was kind of what my whole mindset was, but I wasn't jumping the gun the first quarter saying that he should be benched.
got you. So there's no deleted Twitter X posts referencing "boo this man" or "put in
No,
Fields."
no, not at all. I never once went on Twitter during the first quarter and said put Fields in or anything like that. I made a comment to a couple people about a couple things, but I never, or just about with how the game was going, but I never posted anything like that.
So, to me, I was one of those guys that thought that the Steelers made the right decision in seeing what they have in Russ. And mainly because, like what I had said, it felt like the offense was tailored to a second string quarterback, and they were going to be high. They were protecting the ball. And, as they began to open it up a little bit more for Justin Fields, he started to struggle more with accuracy and handling things. And so, I just felt that with Russell Wilson, if well, not even that. So with Justin Fields, the Steelers, he was like the most blitz quarterback there was last year and this year. I think this year he's the most blitz quarterback as well. That also has an effect on other parts of the game. Now, when you look back at this game, there was the play action pass to Darnell Washington that occurred quite a few times. And if you look from the all 22 angle, what is happening is there isn't a wide receiver out there on that side of the field. And so the cornerback who's responsible for that area starts to creep in a little bit. And because the Pittsburgh Steelers didn't really do a lot of play action pass in the past, and because it wasn't very successful when they did it, and even if they did it, it was a very short down, check down pass right then and right there. The cornerback, everybody was just rushing into the offensive line, rushing into the in to make the tackle for Naj, and Washington benefited from that several times. And then as the game progressed, they were having, because they were being successful with that, that was forcing the defense to back up and play a little bit more honest. And that's what made Najee Harris, start to get those runs in at the end of the game. And I thought that's exactly what was going to happen if Russell Wilson could show that he could beat the blitz.
Mm-hmm.
And with his ability that he performed this past weekend, I see defenses are going to attack the Pittsburgh Steelers probably a little bit differently, and I think this is going to benefit the run game, and in all, it's possibly even going to benefit the passers as well. I mean, the distribution in this game to the pass catchers was amazing. You had, I think, George had 5 targets, then you had a handful. I think Calvin Austin, Jefferson, and a few others had like 4, and a few others had 3
Mm.
targets. And the last thing I liked the most, which was the biggest concern, I think, for a lot of people that watch Russell Wilson in Denver, was the checkdowns. I don't think he had any. And so, you know, I thought he played very well. He played to me like he has something to prove. And I think it's something to build on. He had some underthrown balls, but I think a lot of that has to do with it's his first game in almost a year.
Yeah,
I think he's going to build that chemistry and get even better. I'm excited about what the
I
Steelers are
agree.
going to do
I agree.
with Russell Wilson. I couldn't be happier for the guy.
Yeah, I don't really understand really the hate and that he's gotten. He's always been one of my favorite players in the league back when he was with Seattle. And he's just a good dude. So he's somebody I think that's easy to root for. So it was good to see him do well and not come out looking like that he's a shell of himself or anything like that. It was a rough first quarter and a half or whatever it was, but other than that, like he got comfortable and really kind of looked like just a quarterback we haven't really seen since maybe 2018 Ben, or just at least from a production standpoint. And it's crazy. It's crazy, which we all knew this, but it's just when you look at Justin Fields pre-snap and Russell Wilson's pre-snap, it's not even close.
Mhm.
It's not even close. And like we know that Wilson's 35 years old, but just everything that he points out and is able to read and recognize, like it's with Justin Fields, I think Fields is a smart quarterback, but when you go back and look at Justin certain things that he's done in the last 6 games, he didn't really recognize certain things, whether it's a blitz, whether if it's a certain look, certain disguise, things like that. And with Wilson, he's just so good doing that. And
Mhm.
I feel like in today's NFL, we don't really see a lot of that pre-snap IQ, in my opinion, anymore.
Well, that's because there's a lot of young guys in the NFL at the quarterback position. They don't get
Yeah,
a lot of time to develop, and
yeah,
then it's not too long before another young guy is back in, in the
right,
saddle there, and
right.
and so on and so on. Which is why we'll probably seen like the stories of the Geno Smith, Mason Rudolphs, who who played okay this past weekend. I don't know if you caught the Tennessee Titans game. He played all right. He ended up having an interception himself. I think he had a fumble, and um, I don't know, maybe I'm glad we have Russ. I'll leave it at that.
Yeah, yeah.
And
No, that's a good way to put it.
but to help out the offense, to help out Russell Wilson, the Pittsburgh Steelers have been rumored in the Cooper Kupp trade talks. Apparently, the Los Angeles Rams have reached out to a few teams, so they're the ones reaching out, telling people that he's available, and
Hmm.
they even said that they'll eat some of the money that is owed to him.
Hmm.
Uh, What do you think about the Steelers potentially signing or
Hmm.
any trade for Cooper Kupp, who is 31 years old? He's
Hmm.
overcoming an ankle injury right now. He hasn't played in the last few games.
Yeah.
He's kind of had some injuries here in the most
Yep.
recent in the recent years.
Yep.
What do you think?
Clyde, what's up, man? Thanks for tuning in. It's hilarious that we are dating back from March up until now, almost November. We're still playing wide receiver roulette. I mean, it's honestly hilarious. It really is. It dates back from then. It's crazy.
Yeah.
So Cooper Cup, this is very interesting because with the Rams being the ones apparently that are reaching out to teams and are trying to see what market there is out there for him, willing to take on a portion of his contract for this season, not asking for the house like we've seen San Francisco do. Cooper Kupp's 31. He's about 6 months younger than Devontae Adams. He definitely has an injury history. But man, when he's on the field, dude, he's so good. He's such a good route runner. He plays a lot in slot, but he is just so good getting open. He is so good at breaking through zone defense, man. Um, he is such a smart wide receiver. And it's unfortunate that he has battled injury problems because if he didn't, like his numbers, I think would really be up there. They wouldn't be up there with some of like the greats or anything, but they would really be up there with some of the modern day NFL guys in terms of just their career. And with Cooper Kupp, I think that his skill set and him as a player itself himself is underrated. People might say, "Oh, he's overrated." He's definitely not overrated. It's just he doesn't stay on the field. I think if anything, he's one of the more underrated talents at wide receiver, just simply because his skill set. So if you're the Steelers, we all know they need another wide receiver. Clock's ticking. There's really not many options out there aside from Mike Williams that they've been tied into, possibly Christian Kirk, DeAndre Hopkins. Outside of that, from what we know right now of what's been thrown out there, it's very thin. Cooper Kupp is on a whole nother tier than those guys. I am all for this move. given the facts of the Rams are willing to eat part of his salary and they're not asking for the house. The injury problem, yes. Him staying on the field is a concern, yes. But if they could land a playmaker like him, Daniel, I really think you could put the Steelers up there with some of these AFC teams. I really do. I truly, truly do. He would be an incredible get. And I'm going to say this. As you guys know, I was a big Brandon Ayuk advocate when they were in talks to try to get him. I was for the Devontae Adams trade. But Cooper Kupp, as long as Cooper Kupp's healthy and playing, he's way better than Brandon Ayuk. Way better. He brings such an element to the game that Ayuk does not bring. And it's crazy that Ayuk just blew his knee out. Devontae Adams, great player. He still is a top 10 wide receiver. But Cooper Kupp, man, he just brings such an element, dude, that this team, in terms of his skill set, his separation, his getting open, his route running, he's just so good in zone and man coverage. There's a reason why this guy, every time he plays, is catching 10 or more balls because
Where
he knows how to get open.
where would you put him at? Would he be the wide receiver 2 on the outside? Would he be replacing Justin Jefferson? Or would he be in the slot mainly replacing?
I think both ways. I think he could do both ways. He would probably be 2, but I think as well if you're going to trot out Jefferson or somebody out there to kind of bring some attention or anything like that, he can play both ways. I think he's just as effective both ways. He's probably more effective in the slot, but he's to me, in my opinion, from all the times I've watched him, he's super effective no matter where you play him out in the field. I think that right now, yeah, Justin Jefferson. I think right now, as you put it, I think that if you can get a healthy Cooper Kupp, man, that's definitely better than Brandon Ayuk, in my opinion. Devontae Adams right now, Cooper Kupp. I really just think at this stage, Daniel, I think Cooper Kupp can, if he's playing on the field, I think he can give you a little bit more than what Devontae Adams can. They're all great, but Cooper Kupp, I just think his skill set's just really unappreciated.
I think I may have said Justin Jefferson. I meant
you did. You did.
You know what I meant. You know what I
knew
meant.
what you meant. That's why I didn't. I
wish we had Justin Jefferson. That would have been nice.
Yeah, that's why. That's why I didn't. Would Cooper Kupp be closer to Debo than Ayuk? Curious how he'd fit here. Well, excuse me, he'd fit in great here. I think just given really their big need at wide receiver, and they just really need a guy that can get open in the middle of the field and a guy that can really separate from a defense. I think no matter what, if they're playing man or if they're playing a cover 2 zone or anything like that, I think that he would make a lot of sense for them. I think that what the Steelers were trying to look for with the Ayuk trade and trying to look for with the Devonta Adams trade, it seems like the Rams are the ones kind of offering that.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that this would definitely be a huge get for them. The only thing is that everybody is going to come back to is just if he's going to be able to stay on the field. That's his problem.
Yeah. So here's probably the issue. I understand that they want to eat some of his money now, but this is the contract. This is what it looks like for 2024. He has a base salary of $15 million, a prorated signing bonus of $9.78 million, and a roster bonus of $5 million with $20 million guaranteed. Is a cap number of $29,780,000. It doesn't get better after this year. Next year his guaranteed salary will be $5 million. So the Pittsburgh Steelers would have to, after this season, cut him immediately if they didn't want to move forward, and they would still owe him $5 million for next year's on next year's tab. But if they don't and they wanted to keep him without doing any type of restructure on his deal, he would have a cap hit of $29,780,000 because next season he would have a base salary of $12.5 million, a prorated signing bonus of 9.78 and a roster bonus of 7.5. So he's still going to total out $29.78 million if the Steelers ended up wanting to keep him longer. Obviously, I don't think they're going to want to do something like that. This is the reason why the Rams are trying to get rid of him. The following year is when they could or after next season is when they could cut him without a guaranteed salary. And so, where do you feel there now, knowing the salary as far as what he's could be getting? I mean, would you be asking for a cut if you were him,
Um, I
or
think it
taking a
really,
cut?
yeah, it depends what his main motive is in playing at age 31, 32 years old. Um, if he's somebody that kind of cares more about money, or if he cares more about playing to win, things like that. It really just depends what his motive is. The Rams, there's things even getting thrown out there trying to unload Matthew Stafford. I think the Rams are in a place where they recognize, because Matthew Stafford, his contract's getting ready to come up.
Mhm.
So Puka Nakua is the guy that they're more leaning on to kind of be their front end guy, and getting off the Cooper Kupp contract obviously will help them. Now that they're going to eat a little bit this year, as you kind of broke down with what his contract kind of looks like. But I think with what, to me, the Steelers have gone into a mindset that they know they have to win playoff games. They know that they have to make a deep push, and even if it's something where you would decide to cut Cooper Kupp loose, I think eating $5 million, man, that's nothing to me, dude.
Well,
That's nothing to me.
that's his guaranteed salary. His dead money next year would be
Mm.
22.26 million. His dead
Yeah.
money this year is $52 million.
Okay, so they would have to keep him on the team for next year.
They'd have to keep him on the team next year, take a
Mhm,
big hit, and
mhm,
the following year he would still, even though he doesn't have any guaranteed money. I didn't see this side over here with the dead money.
mhm.
He would still have a 7.4 dead million cap. So this would have to change. Like if he was coming to the Pittsburgh Steelers, this would definitely have to change. And I would anticipate, maybe perhaps the Rams are offering like, hey, we'll keep the 52 million that's guaranteed this year and you cover the rest. It's still quite a bit of money to be paying out, because if that's his dead cap. That's if you cut him, you save $7.5 million if you cut him after this season. But you still owe him, or you're still on the tag there for 22 million. I don't know about that one.
Well,
I don't know.
Daniel, let me ask you this: if Cooper Kupp gets traded to the Chiefs and they win another Super Bowl, what are you going to say? Is it
Right,
worth it?
but
Is it worth it? With the Steelers, these are the type of things that you have to do and you have to consider if you're really going to try to do something. The Steelers are in a spot where you have a really good defense. You do, but dude, they are lacking so much at wide receiver, and taking a shot on Cooper Kupp, who is coming off an ankle injury. If he's playing, he is a major, major game changer, man. He is. There's a reason why he has put up numbers he has, and he would have put up more if it wasn't for the injuries. That's the main cause. But if
Mhm.
you're going to trot out Van Jefferson and Mike Williams and Calvin Austin and guys like that when you go play the Bills, or you go play the Chiefs, or you go play one of those teams in the playoffs or something like that, that's not good enough. It's not cutting it. The Steelers offense isn't built out for that. They don't have a Mahomes or a Josh Allen that can cover that weakness. With the Steelers, if you're able to go out and go swing for a guy that is still a very high end wide receiver, and you maybe have an extra year control on him, you 100% do it. They were all in to get Brandon Ayuk a new deal. They were going to have to rework Devonta Adams' contract if he was going to come here. He wanted to go play with Aaron. They could maybe rework his contract or something like that. But even if you're on the bag for him for 1 year, they have a lot of expiring contracts next year. They can make it work. They can make it work. They can fit him in. That doesn't really concern me as much as what the player is. Now, if Cooper Kupp is somebody who isn't really more, he's maybe that tier 2, tier 3 wide receiver who's just getting paid a lot of money, then yeah, no, you don't. But Cooper Kupp is an absolute game changer, man. He would change this offense and the landscape of this offense in an incredible way. So, and the fact that it's an ankle injury, yeah, it's kept him out the last 3 weeks, 4 weeks or so. But if it's not a more serious injury that he's coming back from, but it's something where you're the Steelers, your mindset's been winning playoff games. Sometimes you got to take a chance, man. Sometimes you got to take a chance. Miami Dolphins did the same thing. You got to take a chance sometimes. That's the way it goes. Now, like I said, the Steelers offense built a little differently with the Bills or the Chiefs or even a Cincinnati or something like that. That's a little different, but they're not. They're not. And I really feel like if they would go swing for a guy like that, that honestly could maybe really put them up there as maybe going to an AFC championship or something.
Yeah, no, the Steelers definitely could use some help at the wide receiver position.
They need it, man. It's not cutting it, dude. I'm sorry. Van Jefferson is not cutting it.
Don't be confused with Justin.
Yeah, don't be confused with Justin. I mean, if it was Justin, we'd be chilling. But
yeah,
it's not. And even if you go get a Mike Williams, sure, is it better than what you got? Yeah. But again, it's not moving the needle. Dodger Hopkins, it's not moving the needle too much. Will we take that? Yeah. But if you get Cooper Kupp, who's available, or you throw in a DK Metcalf who would be available, which I doubt it, those are guys that are going to be needle movers for you. Those are guys that are going to get you to go head-to-head against Buffalo in Buffalo. Those are guys that are going to get you to go to head-to-head possibly against Mahomes in Kansas City. I'm not saying you're going to win, but you're going to be able to put up points. Those guys are drastic game changers that the Steelers haven't had probably since Antonio Brown.
Mm-hmm. No, I'm not disagreeing with you. I think that George Pickens, he showed up this past weekend against the Raiders, and I think that he showed that he can be the number one receiver. But he definitely needs somebody else out there as well. I think that's just the one missing piece for a really truly dynamic offense. And you make some pretty good valid points about bringing him in. I
would be okay, Daniel, if he's on the cuff for next year. I'm okay with that.
Right. So
you can go draft a receiver, let him learn.
What are you thinking as far as draft capital? They're willing to take off some money, and that's the other thing too. Like, the reason why they want to do this is because they want to get away from the future dead money. All right, they're trying to cut their losses now. Is there a possibility? Well, I don't think it would happen this season if they're going to be paying him for the entire amount, and the dead cap is so high. But I wouldn't be surprised if after the season they may cut him to save money. He'll still be owed what he's owed there.
What, the Rams?
Yeah.
Oh.
The Rams, I think that other teams might say, hey, I'm only willing to give you, maybe a 6th or a 7th, because
I don't think it'd be that. No, I don't think it'd be that. I think if they're starting off with a 2nd, I could see maybe teams try to play a little hardball, maybe stretch for a 3rd. But Cooper Kupp's too talented. He ain't going for a 6th or 7th round pick.
Well, the way I think about it is, time is short. Either you do that or you're going to end up paying him for the rest of the year. And then you're going to have to cut him, and then you're going to be on the hook for the $22.2 million next year and the 7.4 the following year. And at that point, somebody can pick him up. And, it's kind of like the Russell Wilson situation where they're paying him. And so teams that are going to be working with him are going to, they're going to end up getting a pretty fair contract for him for the next couple of years. And so I do think that could be a strategy and something to say, hey, if you want to save some money now this year and not lose so much in the future, this is what we're willing to give you. I would think maybe a 5th tops.
I don't think that. If it's a 5th tops, I don't see that ever happening. So if they're not going to be able to trade them, then you keep them, and you're the Rams. You just continue to go with Stafford for the last year of his contract, and then you go with Kupp and Puka Nacua again at that point.
Right. I just feel like the other teams have all the leverage, even to the point where the Rams are making the phone calls out there. They're not taking in calls, so nobody's jumping up and down to pay that money. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. No, I agree. I don't think anybody's going out of their way to do that for sure. So if the Rams are going out of their own way, it's going to come to a point that if you want to get off him that bad, then you're probably going to have to meet a little bit more middle ground. Probably not going to be looking at that 2nd round pick. Probably going to be looking at maybe more of a middle round type thing. But it depends how bad they want to get off his contract and try to get off some of that money for the future. So that's going to be an interesting thing to keep an eye on, but we all know they desperately need somebody because it's going to come to a point. I mean, we've already seen throughout the season that really what they have outside of Pickens, maybe a little bit of Pat, like you can't go the distance with that.
Mhm.
You can't. If
Yeah,
you have
no,
different,
you're right.
yeah. If you have a high end quarterback, yeah, you can. I mean, we've seen Ben cover up some of those pieces before. Remember that year in what year was that? Was that I think that was 2016, where Martavis Bryant was suspended the whole season. And other than Antonio Brown, they had Ladarius Green, who hardly played, Jesse James, Sammy Coates. Um, why am I blanking out on that one guy? Number 83. He had like the dreads. Kobe, what was his name? He got a lot of playing time at wide receiver, but he was a no-name. He was a bum pretty much.
Mhm.
Darius Hayward Bay, number 83. I'm blanking on. Somebody in the chat will know. I'm totally blanking out on his name. But you have a Kobe Hamilton. Thank you. But Ben, you have a guy like that. He's able to make up for that lack. We don't really where we're at offensively. It's not going to be good enough, especially in today's NFL with what you're going to have to produce offensively. So 2018, even though that was what 7 years ago, 6 years ago, 7 years ago, whatever it was, um, it's still a different league than what it was in 18. And you need to. We all know you need to be able to be able to move the football, be able to if we're going to go face some of these teams in the AFC, we're gonna have to score. And in a big situation like that, I'm not counting on Van Jefferson or Calvin Austin to do that for me, or Roman Wilson or Scotty Miller, whoever the heck it is. Attention goes to
Yes,
George
sir.
Pickens. All right, come. All right, that's what teams want. Beat us with Van Jefferson. You think anybody's
Hey,
gonna have confidence in that?
he scored a touchdown.
1 reception for 2 yards and touchdown.
Hey, you put 6 on the board. You put 6 on the board. You did your job.
Yeah,
So I'm looking at some of the things that are out there when it comes to Cooper Kupp. It says here that the Rams have indicated that they're willing to take on some of the 2024 salary, so they're not willing to take on anything other than that, according to this document or this tweet here from Diana Rusney. And then on another one, it says that the Rams are opening up are willing to pay on the salary. Well, willing to take on the salary. I don't know if that's the entire salary, but I'm assuming it's probably maybe if the Rams said, "Hey, we'll take on this year's salary. We just don't want to take on anything future." Um, maybe that could be a pretty good deal for like a third, but they're asking for a second. You ask high, you're probably going to get significantly lower, especially if you're making calls. So I'm still sticking with like fifth or fourth, man. On this, a Steelers fan comes in with a gifted State of the Steelers membership. Make sure you guys have your gifts turned on to get those things, and I'll be doing something with the members only here pretty soon. I'm still working on what we're going to do exactly. I have a couple of ideas, so I'm just kind of putting things together and trying to get a schedule down so that way I can
yeah.
do more on time with those type of things. So
I
keep
want to
on
I want to throw another thing out there just to get a laugh out. Dude, I was going into or come last week heading into Sunday, I was all over the Jets, dude. I would have bet my whole entire bank account on the Jets.
I would have taken that bet from
Yeah.
you.
And the reason why I was because the Jets were so hungry, man. They were so desperate being 2-4. And getting Devontae, thought, okay, maybe, that's going to bring some life. It's going to bring some rejuvenation. You got Saleh out of the building. I was all over them. I thought to myself, I'm like, I just cannot think of a positive way on how the Steelers are going to win this football game. And if you would have told me they were going to win 37-15, I would have thought you were nuts. I really would have.
I wasn't predicting a huge score either. I thought the Pittsburgh Steelers were going to have an opportunity to win this game. And in the pregame, I thought that opportunity expanded just when they had that conversation with Russ. Now, I know a lot of people were talking a little bit of smack about how Russ was, in this conversation because he was like, kind of going at it. We're going to win and all this other stuff, right? But, I mean, he was, like, focused. Like, and you can see in his eyes, like, he was ready to run through a wall.
Yeah. Oh, he was. Yeah.
And that's just how the team was playing. They were playing Like when we saw the Steelers lose to the Colts, I felt like the other team was just more physical. They were more determined. They were ready to play. And that the Steelers just kind of looked like they took a step backward, like they were expecting to walk in and win. And I
Yeah,
felt like maybe the Jets had that mentality, going into they just
maybe.
got Devontae Adams. They're like, all right,
Yeah,
this team here hasn't put
yeah.
up much
Hey,
point.
there was something put out that they were actually kind of glad that Wilson was starting.
Yeah, yeah. There was a lot of people that were saying that. In fact, I was listening to another podcast on my other network that I'm affiliated with, Steel Curtain Network, and they had on something called Enemy Lines, and they had one of the beat reporters or beat guys for Fans First Sports Network from the Jets, who covers the Jets, talking, and they were like, the one thing we want is we want Russell Wilson to play. We're afraid of Justin Fields because you don't want a quarterback that can run. You have to play and plan for that. So we want Russ, and we want a lot of Najee right up the middle because he's only getting 2 to 3 yards, and
Mhm,
we want to get that 3 yard average up the middle.
mhm.
And I was like, man, be careful what you wish for, brother. And
Oh, the
he
Jet the
definitely
Jet
got it.
Jet Jets have a good defense, so that's to me, that's with what they were able to do offensively, I think is impressive being able to go against them. Like, I know they're missing a couple DBs, but they've had a pretty good defense throughout the season so far. Um, so I think really the Steelers' offense performance caught everybody by surprise. Not if like, oh, you thought the Steelers were going to win or not, but I don't think anybody was going to guess that they were going to put up 30 points back to back, especially against a quality defense, and let alone put up 37 points, which when's the last time they did that?
Right. That was
So
2018, I think it was.
almost hitting 40, dude. When's the last time of that? So, and I just want to give an LOL real quick, by the way. Even though that, and this doesn't, and even though that I wasn't for the quarterback change, I never once doubted Russell Wilson's abilities. Again, go back to all the videos. I 100% believe the guy could still play. Just didn't think at the time it made sense, in my opinion, when that was going on. But just a big LOL to everybody in the offseason that thought that Fields or Russell Wilson wasn't going to change much for this team. So anybody, again, the Pickett lickers out there, or the Mitch truthers out there, or
There's two of us.
even though I give respect to him with what he did at the end of the season for us, but still Mason Rudolph, it's not comparable. Um, it's not even comparable, dude. This quarterback room compared to last year's quarterback room, we have leadership. Just listen to Justin Fields' response when he was not going to start. Listen to the way Russell Wilson speaks about Justin Fields. It's not even comparable, dude. We don't have crying. We don't have pouting. We don't have guys getting punched in the face. We don't have guys running away from competition. We have a great quarterback room situation. Is it elite? No, but it's quality. It's quality. It's two guys that you know you can win with. And I'm very happy with the way both those guys have been here. And it is night and day looking at the talent and looking at what both guys have actually been able to produce offensively. Now, I know Russ has done one game here, but still, what he did in one game is something a quarterback hasn't done since 2018, by the way.
Yeah.
So let's put that in perspective. So it's truly a breath of fresh air being able to have the quarterback room we have. And again, all the people in the offseason that said, oh, Russ and Fields, it's not going to be any different. It's going to be just as bad as a quarterback room. I just want to give a quick LOL at those people, by the way. I want to give an LOL at Vegas, by the way, who, again, 3-4 years in a row had the Steelers favorited to finish last in the AFC North. And a quick LOL at all the people on TikTok and on X and everything like that, having the Steelers, oh, well, they're the least talented team in the North. Oh, they're going to finish last North. How are the Browns? How's that going? If I'm a Browns fan, I'm so pissed. I am beyond pissed. Like how I am with the Pirates. Like, I'm beyond pissed. Bengals, nothing but problems in the offseason with contracts. They're not focused. Started 0-4. Defense sucks. Ravens, they're getting it going. But I just find it funny every offseason when the Steelers are neglected, when the Steelers are doubted. And the people out there that doubted this quarterback room, that it wasn't going to move the needle much, and the Steelers were still going to win 8-9 games. I just want to laugh at those type of people, or even finish under 500. I don't know what those people are on. I don't know why it happens every year, but I just find it funny. And again, in terms of quarterback room, I'm just very glad that this is the direction they went.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you on that more on that one, but I want to add one more LOL. And that's
Yeah.
to Devontae Adams for losing to the Steelers,
Yes.
getting
Yes.
traded and losing to the Steelers again, and
Twice in a week.
sitting there with his face
Yep.
there after George Pickens makes a catch, like, I think I chose the wrong team.
Yep.
And so, I thought that was hilarious.
He wanted to go in sleep in his underwear with Aaron.
That's
what he
true.
wanted to do. They wanted to share beds, sleep in their undies. That's what they wanted to do. So that's what you get.
Now, one thing, just real quick, going back before we leave the offensive side, because I do want to talk about the defense, is, when it comes to the wide receiver trade, man, if I had to give up a second for a Rams wide receiver, I think the only one I'd give up a second and take on anything is Puka Nacua. Maybe they can flip it on that. Say, hey, you keep Cooper, we'll get Puka. I don't think they'll do it, but I think I would give up a second for that. Now, transitioning on to the defensive side, Beanie Bishop, 2 interceptions against Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah,
you think Aaron signed that football for him?
Do I think Aaron signed that football? It's he has been somebody that's gotten a lot of flack, and rightfully so. He hasn't been very good this season. It's hard to find these undrafted diamond in the rough players like we had with Mike Hilton. But the fact that a guy in Beanie Bishop had a game like that against a Hall of Fame quarterback, and really you could even really make the case, could have really been a factor in helping the offense get rolling. Really impressive, and somebody that I really hope that this could maybe be something for him to build a career on. Because if they could find somebody that is, even if he's not as good as Mike Hilton, because I think Mike Hilton was one of those undrafted players you don't come around too much. But even if he can come around and just be solid as a slot guy and really solidify that need there, that would be huge for this defense. That was such a glaring need going into the season. It wasn't looking good throughout the year so far, but him having a game like that, showing what he can do in a big game at home on prime time, that would be a great story where, like, that's where it started for him. Like, you can look back and say, you know what, that was the game that completely shifted his career. So I hope that for him, but that's incredible being able to, not too many people can say that they picked off Aaron Rodgers twice in a game.
Yeah, that I don't know how many there is. I mean, that's a very short list.
Maybe he's the only one. I don't know. I don't know how many players are out there that picked off Aaron twice in a game.
Yeah,
because Aaron throughout his career hardly ever threw picks.
Yeah, exactly.
Hardly. Not till the end of his career. This year and his last year with the Packers. He threw maybe 5, 6 a year at most.
Yeah,
very little. Very little.
So it would, yeah. I mean, I don't know about that one. That's a good one to look up. If anybody's out there on the interwebs right now wants to search that and put it in the comment section, let us know. Afton comes in saying that Aaron Rodgers said he was going to sign it on Pat McAfee today, and so I thought that was Beanie's best move there. If he was going to get it signed, he was going to have to put it out there in the public so that Aaron Rodgers can be asked about that. He doesn't want to seem like he's a bad guy. So he said, yeah, I'll sign it. And we'll see if he does.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. I mean, if I was Beanie Bishop, I would have done the same thing. Like, I hope I can get it signed from him for real. Because I mean, he's a walking Hall of Fame, player, and he's
top 5 quarterback of all time, man.
Exactly. And so there's and I couldn't be prouder for Beanie Bishop. I thought that he did some good things in the past when it came to tackling. I mean, he got Brock Bowers in the ground single-handedly on his own in the backfield for a tackle for loss. And I just thought, man, if he can just kind of get this thing kind of going, maybe there's something there. My good buddy Shannon White from Steel Curtain Network and the show The Hangover that I do on Monday nights with Shannon. He's a huge West Virginia fan, and he's been following Beanie Bishop for a while, and he thought that his coverage and catching ability was on key, but that his tackling was next level. And I think that that's sort of been what we've seen. And I think that you're absolutely right. This could be one of those games that catapults him, up another step, because he had been picked on. He had been the guy that was kind of lost in the middle of the field. Minka talked about maybe going back to, some simpler type of defenses so that everybody knows where they're supposed to be at. And, I highly doubt he was talking about Joey Porter or Dante Jackson or Patrick Queen or the guys up front.
Mhm.
So, it's probably the undrafted rookie guy that's out there for the first time.
Yeah.
So, I'm glad that things can come around. He said that they planned for that they were going to try to give an illusion that there was something open in the middle of the field because Aaron Rodgers would take it. And if he took it, then, they were going to make something happen. And he was able to do that, not just once, but on the second
Yeah, he
time as
was.
well. Super proud of the kid. I think he's going to, let's see if he can back it up 2 games in a row.
Mhm.
Uh,
Yeah,
TJ Watt,
100%.
he didn't have a lot of, he didn't have that splash this week, but he
Mhm.
took up a lot of the defensive or the offensive line, allowed a guy like Alex Highsmith and Cam Hayward to really cause some havoc on the other side. What did you think about the defensive front?
Well, I thought Ogunjobi played well. I think Cam Hayward, I think, exceeded everybody's expectation this season.
Mhm.
He's been involved in pretty much almost every play. Um, he's impressed me a lot at age 35, so good for him. Keanu Benton shined a little bit. I don't really feel like throughout that game that there was really one in particular person that stood out in a negative. Patrick Queen, I feel like I don't know what's going on with him. He just is not near the ball a lot for some reason. It seems like he's not. I'm not seeing that quick reaction that we're seeing in Baltimore. The Steelers haven't really even used him much in terms of blitzing the quarterback, which is something Baltimore really specialized him in. I think maybe there was one time I feel like that I can recall Sunday where they actually sent a linebacking blitz up the middle to Aaron, but it doesn't really seem like the Steelers have really focused in on that. Like I just feel like Patrick Queen just isn't. I don't want to say he's lost quickness or anything like that, but he just doesn't seem near the ball as much. I don't know
Mhm.
why. I don't know why. So to me, it seems like to me he wasn't really much of a standout for me Sunday. Outside of that, and I like him. I think that he's somebody that they should keep around for a bit longer, even after this year. But Peyton Wilson, there were some plays where he was flashing through, making some tackles, not in the backfield, but um, getting some tackles for. I think he had at least one or two for negative yards on Brees Hall. So really, the front as a whole, man, like they didn't really let the Jets run the ball much. There were just really a couple short checkdowns to Brees Hall where that went for a long ways. But other than that, Devonta Adams 3 catches for 60 some yards, I think, or no, 30 some yards,
30.
30 yards. 3 receptions for 30 yards. Garrett Wilson had a couple drops, but he was kind of the guy I figured probably would be the most effective this game. Brees Hall was kind of really the guy that really had the big plays, honestly, that really carried that offense. Just really a few halfback slip screens that he took off. I felt like the front was just that it really contained Aaron. I felt like they really kind of held up enough pressure in the sense of where he wasn't able to get the ball really too much to the Lazards and the Wilsons. Um, it was more so they had Brees Hall there as that safety valve. Um, and that's was really kind of the only guy that really, if anything, ate the defense up maybe 2, 3 times. And that was about it.
Yeah.
So I was really impressed by the way the defense won, man. I was really expecting not our defense to like get shredded, but I was really expecting more of Jets playmakers really being able to um, kind of torch our secondary a little bit. Just some big plays in the middle of the field, maybe a couple big plays downfield. I was expecting from the Jets this game. More Adams as a decoy that would maybe free up Wilson or Lazard more. And honestly, it didn't go that way. So I was really impressed with what the Steelers defense showed. I think really all around, but um, other than Brees Hall for 2-3 plays, that was about it, man.
Yeah, yeah, the defense did a solid job. Special teams did a great job. They had 2 blocks. I know only one counted, but the NFL has already come in and said that they were wrong about the one.
Yeah, dude. And then the second one happens. Ball doesn't lie.
Yeah,
Ball doesn't
yeah.
lie.
You know, unfortunately though, I think Minka's going to have like 3 or 4 blocked field goals in his career that aren't going to
Yeah,
be in the stat
yeah,
book because of
yeah,
referee interference.
yeah.
Um,
Always got to get involved, dude.
yeah, and it's always when Mink makes a play.
Yeah,
It's unfortunate, man. I feel
ridiculous.
bad for him. But yeah, a concept comes in with a reminder that Queen was dealing with a growing injury. It may be still bugging him. You know, maybe. I mean, maybe that's why he's taking these weird angles at the running backs or at the ball carriers, which is sometimes why he's missing his tackle. Maybe he's not, able to move or adjust,
It might be.
while he's
Yeah, like
sprinting.
I still think he's a good player. He's just been slow getting into our defense. I thought he had a pretty good game last week, but this week he just he, he just wasn't really near Brees Hall a lot. He wasn't really near um, the ball carrier too much, and there were a few instances where he could have made a couple big tackles for them, and he wasn't there. So I don't know. I'm just not really sure what's going on with that.
I did see a big tick in plays for Peyton Wilson, and I think
Yeah.
we're going to see more and more of
Oh yeah,
him.
he was flashing around a few times, man.
Yeah, yeah. So overall, man, I think it was a really good team win.
It
You know,
was
last
definitely
thing
their
I
best win of the year.
yes, sir. Last thing I want to talk to you about is what'd you think about the threads? What'd you think about the uniforms with the gray face masks?
I thought they were dope, dude.
I did too, man.
Throwbacks are always dope. I thought the gray face masks were a great touch. Would have been really cool if the end zones were painted. I freaking hate the fact that Pitt plays at Heinz Field. I hate that. I think it's so stupid. Go play somewhere else. Because then it makes our field for like the first 2.5 months of the season look like trash.
Hmm.
Like it does. Like there's
Yeah.
nothing special about our end zones. So one side has some diagonal lines in it, and the other side just says Pittsburgh on it. So, but yeah, the uniforms are really neat. I think that would be something that I'd like to see a little bit more of each year, not just once a year. So I think that would be pretty cool. Um, a lot of people want them to go back to that look.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I think that I'm one of them. I would like the block numbers. I don't know about I really like the gray face mask. I mean, I'm not gonna lie, especially on Wilson. It made him look
They're
like an
pretty
old
cool.
school quarterback. Yeah, and
Yeah, yeah, they look good.
I like the black ones too. But man, those gray ones they were
Hmm.
definitely at first I was
They're
like,
pretty
I don't
fire.
know. I mean, they're gonna look all right, but I think I prefer the black. They did look pretty slick, but
Yeah, the block numbers are sick.
the block numbers, they should have never left those. They should have never left
Yeah,
the block numbers.
yeah.
Um, but yeah, no, I like the uniforms this week. I think they're going to be color
Rocking the
rush.
color rush this week.
Yeah, so two
Yep.
weeks in a row they're going to be at home using their alternate uniforms. So it
Yeah.
should be exciting to see. I'll do another show. You want to do another show this week?
Let me think. I'm just trying to think what I gotta do. Can't Thursday. Um, I mean maybe Friday.
Yeah, Friday might
Might be
work
able
for
to on
me.
Friday.
Friday might be working for me. Regardless, I'll be on Friday, and we'll do a little preview of the Jets. Of the Giants game that's coming up on Monday night. Um, for those of you guys, my parents are going. I have season tickets. I have a couple of games still available towards the later part of the year. I think it's the Browns game available still. I have the Chiefs game available if anybody is still interested in going to that game. I also have the Bengals game available. So if anybody's interested in some of those tickets, I'll give you a pretty good deal on them. Just email me at stateofsteelers@gmail.com and or Yeah, email me there. That'll be the best way to get in contact with me. So get with me. Let me know what you guys think. I still have 2 tickets to each of those games. I'll give you a great deal if you're interested. It's in the lower level in the end zone. Great view. You won't want to miss it. And for those that'll be going out there to the Baltimore Ravens game, let me know. I'll be out there. Me and my father are going to be at that game. So, but I appreciate everybody. Please hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, ring that notification bell, and then go over to Nathan's channel and do the same. He puts out Steelers content. It's in the title. I believe I put it in the title of this description. So if not, I'm going to go put it in right now. Go check it out. Go check out his. Nathan, any final words?
Just good to be back, man. It feels good right now being a Steeler fan, dude. 5-2. This just feels like a different team than what we've had the last 4 years. It just feels like everybody's bought in. And even Sunday, it felt like that there was just a new pulse. It really seemed like, and I don't know if that was all because of Russ or if it was just because of that and teams excited on what he's going to do in prime time. Whatever it is, it just seems like that there's a new life on this team. So it's great they're 5-2. The fact that they're going to be able to go 6-2 heading to the bye is a phenomenal thing. Always good to see you guys in the chat. So we appreciate your guys' support and your guys' thoughts and opinions. Everybody in the comment section, shout out to you guys. So we appreciate each and every one of you and your thoughts. So Daniel, if we do a show Friday, we'll do it on your channel. Especially if I can't make it, you'll do it regardless. I'm still figuring out my own new software I'm gonna use. But we'll do your channel Friday. So if you guys are available Friday, come back onto Daniel's channel. Even if I'm not there, he's gonna break down Sunday's game. But other than that, good to be back, and I will hopefully see you guys Friday. If not, I'll see you guys next week.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And to answer your question, Mr. Daredevil, I don't think it was Dan Rooney's decision. That was Nike being a crybaby because they wanted new jerseys to be sold. So they required majority of the teams because they were switching to Nike to utilize different numbers and things like that so they can drive up jersey sales. It's all about the money. Until next time, guys, we'll see you later this week.
Yes, sir.
Peace out.